Sometimes I'm in my feelings.
Who do you think this is?
What the
And other times I'm numb.
If
What do you
had to
mean?
Guess. Like, who do you think this is?
Do we know them?
Other times I'm done.
Is it like Jake Gonda or something?
It's that was Cole Beasley's new track. Sometimes that just dropped 20 minutes ago.
Oh, it's pretty good.
You think it's good?
Speaking of football, welcome to Bro Football Focus episode 33, everybody. The Derwin
Yeah,
James
welcome
episode.
back.
What'd you say?
So that's pretty tight.
Oh, Jake, you ruined the intro.
Do you think it's royalty free?
Definitely not. But welcome everybody to episode 33, the Derwin James episode. Thanks along for coming on for the ride. With me, except for like those 3 times now, is Jake.
Hey, stop.
Yeah.
And,
You used up all your PTO, Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm milking it. I'm milking the cow.
Except for that one time, Austin.
Yeah, just one time, I think.
And we're back after a bit of a hiatus. Jake was in town, didn't have any equipment, was doing stuff, wanted to hang out with people. It's understandable, but
yeah.
like we
I was
said,
busy editing the clips and
yeah. No more PTO for Jake.
Wait. You go. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You okay?
Oh, Jake, if you're confused by the rundown, we should probably inform the
Yeah, I'll let everybody know right now. Since this week is pretty much just playoffs based, we're gonna skip the Spicy 16 this week.
I thought I had an aneurysm.
No. The playoffs are all that matters in the NFL.
Yeah, we're in playoffs now. We're gonna talk about what matters, and it looks like what matters is the playoffs. So, Austin, you wanna break us into this playoff talk?
Yeah, so all right, we'll start off with the AFC since that's the spicy side of football as of recently. And the Chiefs earned a bye week by securing the number 1 seed this weekend. They had a 14-2 record, and their one loss was one of their losses was last Sunday versus the Chargers, but they're resting their starters. Their last real loss was October 11th against the Raiders, and it was 32-40. And the thing that I find intriguing about the Chiefs getting the bye week, and I've always heard this said about Andy Reid ever since he was with the Eagles, whenever Andy Reid has a bye week, he always so he's been coaching for 22 years, and he has an 18-3 regular season record after a bye week. 18-3. And he is 5-2 after a first round bye week in the playoffs.
Pretty good.
So Andy Reid is he's already a good play designer and schemer for certain defenses, but if you give that motherfucker an extra week in the playoffs and you're worried about, so for example, all right, so the Bills play the Colts and the Ravens play the Titans, and the Steelers play the Browns. So if the Bills and the Steelers theoretically won, the Chiefs would play either the Ravens or the Titans. Andy Reid, the Ravens and the Titans are game planning for each other right now. Andy Reid is game planning for probably one of those 2 teams just because that's who he's most likely going to face one of those teams.
Probably the Titans if history has anything to say about it.
Yeah, if we dive into that.
But if we do want to dive into that, I think it would be real quick because if there's anybody in the NFL that has Lamar Jackson's number, it's the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Lamar chokes, I think.
Yeah. Teams invoke the Tennessee defenses to scare Lamar.
Yeah. So that's the Chiefs. They got the bye week. They're sitting pretty. Andy Reid is drawing up some plays. He's not going to lose. Whoever he plays next.
He's playing this actually week by week, or is he going to take this extra week to plan literally every game and just mastermind it all?
I'm sure now that it's playoffs, he's probably got it all planned out right now.
Munching like 60 milligram Adderall. It's like,
yeah.
Going.
God help the NFL if Andy Reid gets a hold of some Adderall like that and he's watching film nonstop, no tiredness.
Yeah.
Andy Royal Reid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that, the Bills play the Colts Saturday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. And this is going to be, so it's in Buffalo. And this is the first Bills game all season that they're allowing fans at. So
Wow,
there's
Isn't
gonna
it
be,
only like
fucking
6,000
insane.
though?
what'd you say?
Isn't it only like 6,000 or something?
It's 6,772, which is, I think, is kind of a weird number. But
Probably a certain percentage.
I
Yeah.
just feel like having any fans there at all will make it will be such better motivation. Like, imagine playing a pitch quiet game in potentially snow or fucking
Well,
negative
it-
30.
It wouldn't be pitch quiet either way. I would think that the crowd noise that they pump in is louder than a real crowd.
I don't know if the Bills pump in crowd noise. I think they were criticized for that.
I think they were sound canceling actually, so it's too quiet.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I don't-
certain teams
Now,
do pump it
Are they
in.
gonna try to regulate like the parking lot at all?
I think the part, so to get a ticket you have to pass a COVID test, and to get a parking pass I think you have to have a ticket or something. I was reading into it. It seemed like they were not allowing tailgating at all, but I'm sure
But I mean,
I'm
like
sure
that whole street is full of everybody. Like, did they
Yeah.
regulate that shit at all?
I'm sure there'll be fucking Bills Mafia all over the place out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, shit's about to
But
be wild.
um
What if Josh Allen can't perform with any noise? You know, he can only play when it's
Yeah.
like
What if that's the secret? Like he saw such a big jump this year because it was quiet. And he
oh
could hear
man.
it. There's a little sound. And he's like, oh, oh, oh.
he has no pressure whatsoever the whole season, so he's just so calm and cool.
Josh Allen's good. He'll do fine. They're gonna ass blast the Colts.
Yeah, I hope so. I wouldn't say that though, but I don't want to jinx
I
them.
mean, they
No.
dropped a fucking 50 burger this week.
Yeah, but that was against the Dolphins, and I don't
But I
think
mean,
they're the
Dolphins
real
aren't a
deal.
bad team.
But is Tua a bad quarterback?
We'll talk about that. But I wanted to
When?
also bring up that Frank Reich, the Colts head coach, I probably said this before on the podcast, but he was like instrumental. Like everyone says, like no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. That's because Frank Reich on January 3rd, 1993, led the Bills out of a 32-point deficit to beat the Houston Oilers 41-38 in a wild card playoff game. That's the guy coaching the Colts. Now, here's the thing about the Colts. They got this sick run game with Jonathan Taylor. He's got 232 carries, 1,169 yards, and 11 touchdowns. But a lot of Colts fans that I've heard are saying on the internet, I'm reading the comments, they're saying that Frank Reich is pass happy. And he like abandons the run and just starts passing with Philly Rivers. So I'm hoping the Bills can take advantage of that.
They probably will. They're
Passing like
doing,
crazy.
They're doing pretty darn good right now.
But Jonathan Taylor, that last game against the Jaguars. Hunter, what was going on there? Was that more of like a Jaguars thing, or the Colts able to run that well?
Well, I think besides the Browns, the Colts probably have the best O-line in football. But I don't think you have anything to worry about in that game at all. Do I think it would be hilarious? Yes. If the Colts won, absolutely. But I don't think it's gonna. Yeah. I don't think there's really any shot at that going down.
I would be devastatingly butthurt. I don't know if I'd be able to do the podcast the following week, just out of shame.
Shame. Oh, you'd
I
have.
would put out of you.
I'd feel like I jinxed him or something.
No. See, I'm going to feel very similar if Trevor Lawrence comes out and he's a piece of dog shit.
Oh,
That would be so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more likely for that to happen than the Bills to lose this game, I'd say.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's a 50-50 shot that the Bills win this game. How many quarterbacks have been busts in the first round?
But here's the thing. How many quarterbacks have been talked about like this? 3, and they were all hits.
Yeah. What about Jamarcus Russell?
he wasn't talked about in the conversation with Elway, Manning, and I mean, he couldn't have been with Luck, but
I
there
think
have
Mike
been
Mayock was saying similar things about
well,
Marcus Russell.
Mike Mayock can be a dum-dum sometimes. But what I will say about Trevor is, obviously, I hope he's good, but there have been 3 people who people have said, hey, this prospect is like, there's no negatives here. 3 guys, and they've all been good. And Andrew Luck, he probably would have been a Hall of Famer if he had played his full career.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a stud. So you're saying Andrew Luck and who else?
Peyton Manning and John Elway.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
So you
only
think-
people who have come out of college where they're like, yeah, this is undoubtedly the guy. There's no negatives to his game.
Now, do you think Trevor Lawrence could sell used cars like John Elway does?
Maybe after football. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd put money on it like 30, 40 years down the line. He has
Yeah.
a used car dealership or
I'll be
just a
fair to that.
normal car dealership.
Oh,
Quickly, one more thing on Trevor Lawrence, kind of pertinent information today. He did officially declare for the NFL draft.
He's in there.
There was a little bit of hubbub. Maybe he goes back for another season, but boy is going back, and rumor has it he's headed to Jacksonville.
what's the real point of anybody staying in college
Um,
and go to the NFL? Fuck, as soon as I can, make that fucking
Because-
pick, dude.
you want to, not in Trevor Lawrence's case because he's pretty much the number 1 pick, unless Justin Fields blows out Alabama somehow.
And he's
But-
lucky the Jags got the number 1 pick and not the Jets.
Yeah.
Like,
But
this is a good situation for him.
in a situation like if the Jets had number 1, Trevor could be like, I'm going to stay in because he doesn't want to go to the Jets.
Just another year to risk like getting injured, doing
Yeah.
worse.
It is. I mean, I think he has a better chance of getting injured on the Jets than he does at Clemson.
But that's
Another
guaranteed
year at
football money.
CTE, like
Yeah.
It's true.
Another
but
thing, some people, like, not Trevor Lawrence in this case, but some people, like, if they never won a college football championship, like,
Yeah.
sometimes they want to ring chase and, like, if they are on a really sick team, they want to go back and get that dub.
Trevor Lawrence is like the opposite example. Like that guy he has no reason to stay.
He's done it all except for win the Heisman.
Because if you are like that number 1 guy, there is no reason. It's like, go get that money. Because there are guys who have been highly touted and then they've stayed a year and then that's like plummeted their draft stock because they had a
Yeah.
bad season.
yeah, it's interesting.
But moving on, the Ravens will play the Titans on Sunday, January 10th at 1:05 p.m. And a little interesting note about this game, the Titans will be without left guard Roger Saffold due to ankle injury, and Steven Gostkowski is still out due to COVID. So, I mean, Derrick Henry's running all over the place, but there goes a lineman. I don't know. Roger Saffold has been like one of their better offensive linemen this year because they already lost Taylor Lewan due to a ACL or something like that. So that's their entire left side of the offensive line is not playing in this game that they started the season with. And then Steven Gostkowski, I think he's like top 2 or 3 all-time scoring kickers. I know he had like some bad games this year, but that's a guy with playoff experience that you would want making a big kick in a wild card game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really think that like the Bills not having anything to worry about, I think if anybody's going to beat the Ravens, I think it's the Titans because they just, for some reason, know how to get to Lamar.
So you'd
So-
bet on this game? You feel that confident about it?
I think so. I would like to see the Ravens win, but I definitely think the Titans just have Lamar's number for some reason.
Interesting.
Now, I will say that because you have like Derrick Henry's, over 2,000 rushing yards. It's interesting how him and himself, kind of like his running game is reflected in his season as well. Like in the beginning of the season, it's like a slower start, but it's like once he gets going, it's like by the end of the season, it's just like nobody's fucking stopping him. It's just because
Man.
even like the beginning of the season, I picked him up in fantasy and like the first
Yeah.
3-4 games, it was just like nothing special. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he just started picking up, and he's just fucking like mad. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, think about how beat up you'd be after like 10 games of high school or 10 games of college football. And then think about 16 games of NFL football, and you're
Yeah.
tackling these fucking monsters. And then it's cold and you got to tackle Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And you-
So
Yeah.
you don't think he's necessarily getting better throughout the season? Everyone else is just getting more tired.
I think
Yeah.
everyone's getting tired and hurt, and I think he doesn't get tired and he doesn't get hurt.
Just a robot.
He's a fucking robot. But this is an interesting thing that I found. So a lot of people deep in the NFL community talk about the 370 curse. And it's basically like Derrick Henry this year had 378 carries, 2,027 yards, 17 touchdowns. And the curse basically says that any running back that gets 370 or more touches in a season ends up hurt or having a shitty season the next year. And the only running back to ever like break that exception is Eric Dickerson, who is the all-time leading rusher, like single season. He has like 2,100 something yards. Like he's like one of the greatest running backs of all time. And I think oddly enough, Derrick Henry is compared to him like coming out of college. People are like, oh, he runs like Dickerson, like straight up, right? But I just think that's interesting. Like he's already got 378 totes. Like how many fucking carries did he get in that last game? 30 something? I don't know. He was getting pounded in. Now he's got to go run it through the Ravens, who are a hard-hitting team. Like it's going to wear him down. I think that's what happened to them last year. He just like he can't put the team on his back for that long without wearing down, because he, as much as he looks like a robot, I don't know if he actually fucking is a robot.
He has
You know?
feelings.
Probably not. He's definitely a human being person. But
Thanks for the reassurance,
Fucking
Hunter.
Robo crabs.
last week we saw the Browns take down the Steelers, but we're going to see that matchup again. It's going to be a little different, though. Steelers are going to be playing all their starters, which they were hardly doing in the last game. Do you guys think the Browns have like any shot at this, especially with their coaching staff issues that they're currently having, or what?
I mean,
If Magic were real, they have a chance. But
wow.
but I don't know. I think that's, you give a mouse a cookie, they're gonna want some motherfucking milk. And I think they got their cookie, and now they're asking for the milk, and they ain't gonna get it.
What happens with the milk? They're not getting.
No, they're asking
There's
for
no
too
milk
much.
left. Oh, the milk's gone bad.
Yeah, they got to the playoffs. Now they're like, now give us playoff win. And it's like,
Oh,
enjoy what you
man.
got, and then you'll get the milk.
Yeah, I mean, they barely beat the Steelers without Ben Roethlisberger, without T.J. Watt, without Cam Hayward. Those are the Steelers' three best players. All three of those guys will probably end up in the Hall of Fame. And then they lose their head coach, one of their best defensive linemen, and their best offensive lineman, Joe Platonio. Like, it's going to be fucking hard. But,
Yeah. So because the Browns are my Super Bowl pick, I definitely think they're going to win the game. But I do think it's going to be an uphill battle for sure.
Oh, definitely. Like, no Joel Bitonio, and now you got to block. So they had him, and they no Cam Hayward, and now they don't have him, and there's Cam Hayward there, who's a fucking stud.
Could you imagine if the Browns beat the Steelers, knock them out of the playoffs? Like Cleveland might get lit on fire.
That would be. I'm not gonna lie. This would be one of the most epic moments
Oh,
in
yeah.
playoff history.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like smacking the bully in the mouth, like
Yeah.
facing
Like-
all adversity.
Not only is it like the Browns' first time in the playoffs in, what is it, like 15 years or something?
Something like that.
18.
So you have that. Just the Browns are perennially bad. They're dealing with that. Not only that, though, you're not even like one of your rivals. If you had to pick one rival that is like your biggest rival, it's that one. And you have
Yeah.
the chance to end their season and be like, yeah, we're real. Probably won't happen, but I would love to see it.
And to win twice in a row.
Yeah.
Slap, slap.
I've seen Steelers fans who are like, oh, why would we rest all those people and like lose our momentum of winning and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, Shut up, you dummy.
You think those particular players don't they're not going to just snap? Ben Roethlisberger's been playing football for like 20 years, NFL football. Like he's not going to fucking get rust. If anything, he needs a bye week because they kind of got screwed out of it with the Titans earlier in the season.
Yeah, totally.
But another interesting note from this game, Joel Bitonio, who's not playing, he is the longest tenured Brown, and he was a member of the 0-16 season and the 1-15 season. So you got to feel bad for that guy. He's probably pissed he's not able to play the game.
They got to win for Joel so he can see playoffs.
Yeah, hashtag for Joel.
Yeah.
Also, Bull is our resident Joel lookalike.
Yeah.
We should have had him on to discuss.
Kinda, yeah.
We should get a full Browns uniform for him and have it just like walk around Cleveland.
Yeah.
We should definitely have Bull on next week either way.
For literally gained like fucking 40 pounds. What's going on?
For reaction to the game.
Oh, yeah, for
but,
sure.
Over on the NFC, the Packers got the bye by smacking the Bears down. And it's not really Packers certified merch, but there is. I'm 100% sure that is not Packers certified merch, but it is Packers merch nonetheless. This week we have a shirt with a bear on it, and the bear's crying, and it says, "On a quiet night in Wisconsin, you can hear the bears cry," which I feel like you could have done more of like a, if a fudge packer packs a bear's fudge in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Like you could have done something like that.
I'll add that to the BFF merch ideas right now.
Nice. We'll filter it a little bit down and make it a little shorter, more catchy. But
I think that's the appeal of it. It's so long.
Yeah, but they have the bear in the woods, and they didn't do the thing, you know.
Yeah,
but,
or even like make a take on like the saying when people say, "Does a bear shit in the woods?" When it's like, "Of course I do that." Does a bear shit? Yeah.
Exactly.
The bear is squatting down like he's pooping,
but he's crying. But
it could be a
I would like to go back to the Browns game real quick, just to mention a point or two. Like one thing is Denzel Ward, could potentially play Sunday. I feel like that's some pertinent information, but that'll be like his 10th day. But there was a dash cam video that showed this just happened today. Rashad Higgins and Jedrick Wills Jr., their offensive tackle, were drag racing in an area of Cleveland. They got arrested, and it was a misdemeanor.
Yeah, they'll be
Are they going to be able to play?
I mean, that's even more adversity with all the COVID stuff.
No, they will.
Rashad Higgins is one of their top performing wide receivers since Odell Beckham left, and Jedrick Wills is their number one pick from last year, Haas.
They will absolutely play. Tyreek Hill broke his kid's arm and played a whole season.
That's not drag racing in Cleveland, though.
Yeah, but see, honestly, I think drag racing is a COVID-approved activity.
Yeah, as long as they weren't in the same car, it was fine.
Yeah.
I also failed to mention that they had a marijuana cigarette. But the police officers recognized that they're Browns players, and they let them throw it away and didn't charge them with anything.
They had a jazzed cigarette?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
With some of that sticky icky in it.
All right. Going back to the NFC.
Yeah, NFC.
Packers got their bye. Rams beat the Cardinals, so the Rams will now play the Seahawks in the playoffs, which is disappointing for me. I was hoping the Rams wouldn't make it, so the Jags would have a better second pick in the first round. But, hey, it is what it is. I hope the Seahawks smack them down. Hopefully Russell Wilson gets some of his early season magic back. Jared Goff is done for the season, right? Or I don't know about the season, but he had thumb surgery or something.
If he comes back, he's injured, but I don't think he can come back for this game.
Yeah, so
He's
I think
throwing in practice, but is limited. So there's a potential chance he could play.
But not playoff caliber.
I don't know. I just think I think no Goff, that's dicey. I hope the Seahawks win. I like the Seahawks more than I like the Rams. Although
I'd be very surprised if the Rams win.
I don't know. Their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, they're good.
But Seattle is on a 4-game win streak.
Yeah, their
True.
defense is getting better.
And their defense. So their defense allowed 30 points 4 times in the first 8 games, and now they've only allowed the highest they've allowed is 23 points in their last game in the last 6 games. So their defense has dramatically improved throughout the season. I think like adding Carlos Dunlap improved them a lot. Jamal Adams broke the franchise sack record for defensive backs or something because they're just blitzing him like a linebacker. But the Seahawks appear to be getting some of that back that they had earlier in the season, and the Rams appear to have been on like a downward spiral ever since they lost to the Jets.
That'll do it to you.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Washington and the Bucks, which honestly tugs at my heartstrings a little bit because I think it'd be super cool if Washington went the whole way. But obviously, the Buccaneers have to go. But Alex Smith is playing football in one leg, and he's in the playoffs, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Now, is he in the playoffs because of some Doug Peterson shenanigans? Maybe. You reading this, Jake?
Yeah.
Did you say yes?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the Zoom thing?
Yeah, we're all good.
We're up.
Are we?
Yeah, no, we're fine.
It
We
says
good,
your
bro. We
next
good.
group meeting.
I'm recording. It says
He's
the host
recording.
has upgraded.
Okay. Here's hoping. So you can just chop that out. But
I think I might chop everything before and after and just have that.
just leave that. All right. But are the Washington football team, or is the Washington football team only in the playoffs because of some Doug Peterson tomfoolery? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes. Yeah. So basically, did we have this in the rundown anywhere, that the Eagles fuckatry?
I think it's later on, but we could talk about it now.
Yeah, I think we probably should. So, Jake, do you know what went on with this?
Vaguely, but no, not really.
So basically, Eagles are playing the Washington football team, okay?
Yeah.
It's a relatively close game. Like
And I'm
not
The last football game of the regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the game and they put that fucking turd nugget in there.
exactly.
And they were
So
like, spike the ball,
basically,
spike the ball. Like, nah, pass.
yes. What
'Cause if
happens?
You got ice. This dude's got like warm milk in his veins.
So, Jake, listen to this. If Doug Peterson wins this game, he doesn't go to the playoffs, and he has the 9th overall pick in the draft, and the Giants go to the playoffs, and Washington is in the running for one of the top quarterbacks in the draft. If they lose this game, they don't go to the playoffs still, but instead of the 9th pick, they get the 6th pick. The Giants don't make the playoffs. Washington does, but in the draft, because they made the playoffs, they won't be anywhere near any of those quarterbacks, and it can probably be assumed that they're not going to go super far in the playoffs. So it kind of seems like Doug Peterson is playing space chess, and everybody else is playing like Chinese checkers.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate cuck.
Yeah.
Earlier in that day,
Exactly. Yeah.
the Cowboys and the Giants played, and the Giants, they both played their hearts out because they knew the winner of that game, if the Washington football team lost, they would have been in the playoffs. So the Cowboys and the Giants went as hard as they possibly could.
Yeah.
And the Giants came out victorious, and they were super stoked. And all they wanted was for the Eagles to upset the Washington football team. Jalen Hurts, Dipsy doing Chase Young. He got a couple Russian tutters.
Yeah.
And then they throw in Jake Luton. And he throws a pickaroni. And the next play, he fumbles.
Jake
it.
Luton.
Or not Jake Luton. What's his name? Oh, Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah, don't you bring the Jaguars into this?
I was looking at you, Hunter, and made me think of him.
Yeah,
but,
regardless, turd.
oh, man.
So bad, dude.
He
Yeah.
will forever be remembered as the face of tanking. If you want to if you're trying to throw a pick and fumble the game away when Jalen Hurts is balling, you throw in Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah.
Apparently, Jason Kelsey went up to Doug Peterson in the game and was like, Doug, what the fuck are we doing?
Oh man.
Yeah. And then there's a picture after the game of Carson Wentz, Jason Kelsey, and Zach Ertz all just like chilling on the bench, like after everybody has already left the field.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that's because that is more than likely each one of their last games as an Eagle.
Oh, that's sad.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, Doug Peterson's making moves like this for the future. I think this is kind of like that Super Bowl happened. Now we kind of have to dismantle this guy a little bit and rebuild because they have some leftovers from that Super Bowl.
Old
And, like,
leftovers.
people like Fletcher Cox, they're still good. They're still elite, but kind of time. I think the writing is on the wall for the Eagles right now.
Yeah, and Carson Wentz is out of there.
Yeah, he has to be, right? He's Jalen
too
Hurts is
expensive.
good,
and
and
Jalen Hurts is better than him.
that's the only thing, though, if nobody wants to pay for him.
Yeah, I mean somebody's got to pay for him because you think about like the Colts, how much salary cap they'll have, and I think Phillip Rivers. They were talking about Phillip Rivers potentially signing like a Tony Romo deal. Like he apparently has been talking to like networks about getting like an analyst
Gotcha.
deal. And he's obviously old enough. He's on a 1-year deal, so he seems like he has plans after this year that he's not alluding to.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I could see it.
Yeah, and I do think a lot of the Colts' success is in their running game and in the defense because Big Philly style will throw the other team the ball. It seems like just for fun sometimes.
Yeah. And it's ancient football, like a guy who can't scramble or run or just even roll out.
I sent you guys the thing on Twitter like right before the season started where Phillip Rivers was like practicing and from 20 yards out he has to like really just cork it to get it to TY in the end zone. It's like, dude, it's 20 yards. Come on.
I don't think he's got a Drew arm yet, but it's definitely not what it used to be.
Other interesting tidbits about Washington and the Bucs real quick. Chase Young was quoted as saying, "Tell Brady I'm coming. I want Tom. I want Tom." Be careful what you wish for, Chase Young. But Chase Young's real good. I don't know that the Washington football team has the sauce to stop the Bucs.
Yeah, and if they do, it would have to be like on the back of their defensive line. Because
absolutely.
The one time throughout the season, besides when the Saints played the Bucs, that I've seen Tom Brady just get shit on was when he played the Bears, and Khalil Mack was just in like not Leonard Floyd, but who's their other rusher? Oh man, used to be a defensive Robert Quinn. They were getting in there and just sacking Tom Brady. If you can get pressure with 4 people and have all those other people in coverage, and like Chase Young is warming up, and he literally looks like a 5-year pro. Like he looks as good as Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, and he's a rookie and he's a captain. And every mic'd up I watch, they'll have like fucking like Adrian Peterson mic'd up or something, and after the game he'll go up to Chase Young and he'll be like, "You're great. Keep up the hard work." He's like, "You're gonna be great someday." Like they just give him like a little speech after the game. All these like established NFL vets go up to him.
On the other side of that, I like the Chase Young mic'd ups because he's just like having a good time out there. Like he's just having fun, enjoying himself.
And the fact that he's literally just fucking tearing people up, and it's just like, he's gonna be super fucking good. Like I mean, he is super good, but
But Austin, speaking of the Bears, even though they lost to the Packers, they do play the Saints.
Yes, and Roquan Smith will not be in this game because he dislocated his elbow.
That's big.
More interesting than that, the NFL has partnered up with Nickelodeon to deliver us a special kid-friendly broadcast for the Wild Card Roundup. And,
got some slime in the end zones.
Yeah, slime. We got a special pregame SpongeBob show hosted by Von Miller. So, you know, I don't know if it's going to be able to top Muppet Night Football, but it should definitely give it a run for the money.
So, speaking of Von Miller, Austin, have you heard what he's getting into recently?
No.
So I'm not super up on it, but there's something going on with like Von Miller's ex-girlfriend currently, and he said that he hopes that she has like a miscarriage or something. And
Ooh.
but then again, it also might be fake. So I don't know.
A fake miscarriage or what?
No, like people saw the text logs between Von Miller and the ex-girlfriend,
Oh, yeah.
but people are saying those logs are fake, made by the girlfriend to try to
Photoshop.
make Von Miller look bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Von Miller wouldn't say that. He's a good guy.
He seems like a nice guy.
I would like to think so. Yeah.
Now, is this ex-girlfriend? Is that the cheeked up, tatted girl with the thickness in the cheek region?
Probably. You could only
fucking puzzle.
you could only assume so.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think that's going to be an interesting game because Drew Brees, I think, is playing he's obviously still doing Drew Brees stuff, but I think if you get a defense like the Bears after him, I think that'll be very interesting. I don't think the Saints defense will really have any trouble with the Bears offense.
Yeah.
I think if you can kind of take care of Allen Robinson, you're good.
I think with the Saints, they might be a decent matchup for the Bears for the fact that they have really good offensive tackles, and that will keep Khalil Mack off of their ass. But like the Bears defense is pretty solid at every position, and Roquan Smith is out. So I mean, if they can get the run game going with Alvin Kamara, and if Drew Brees isn't playing like complete ass, I mean, they could easily get that dub against the Bears. The Bears barely made the playoffs, but they got that sick D, and that's what wins games when it comes playoff time.
Very true. But that was playoff talk. Now that we're out of there.
I'm excited. I will say that.
Well, do you want to get excited about the Twitterverse, Jake?
Oh, there was a lot of messages that I missed in the Twitterverse.
Good. That's the
Yeah,
point of the segment.
You guys were
Yeah.
on it.
So, Jake, what's
Yeah.
your reaction to the news that Frank Gore is open to playing again next year
I don't know.
for his 17th season?
I don't know why.
Look at that man, Jake. Does he look like he knows anything other than football?
No.
So
His son's in
initially,
college.
that would be cool if they played together. But initially, I was given this for a money thing. Definitely not that. It's definitely what Austin said. Like, Jake, you should listen to Frank Gore give some interviews. Once football is out of this guy's life, besides, he'll probably get like some on-air stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I think Frank Gore is like a football guy, and he needs that.
Yeah. I think he truly breathes football, and it really is.
Yeah, but that's not good.
Well,
Playing quarterback for 17 years, not that's bad.
I mean, running back is probably one of the worst positions to play for 17 years.
Yeah.
But
Fullback is also pretty bad.
I don't think you would survive 17 years as a fullback. It's never happened. They barely make it 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right.
we'll talk about a fullback later.
So, Jake, what you also missed in the Twitterverse was Bruce Arians commenting on Alex Smith and the Washington football team. He said, "We're not playing a 7-9 team. We're playing a 4-1 team. When Alex Smith plays, they're a 4-1 team. We're not playing Dwayne Haskins." So,
We're not playing booty cheeks in his face, Dwayne Haskins.
yeah, really, really slammed Dwayner there.
Yeah. I mean, haters gonna hate, lovers gonna love, but I mean, they're still gonna fucking beat them, regardless.
Wow. There's
More than likely. Yeah.
You don't think Scary Terry can pull it out?
Nah, it's not gonna.
Did you guys see that Alex Smith, his wife, had his leg brace crafted into a Lombardi trophy?
Yeah, I think that's bad juju.
It's definitely bad
I
juju.
think we might see another potential leg injury in this game.
He has to
I hope-
The hands.
he has to dig
I
him-
would never wish it upon anybody.
Yeah.
But when you're flexing with your leg brace and you get a Lombardi made out of it, I think Devin White's going to have thoughts about that.
I wouldn't mind like another bloody sock game, but I definitely don't want to see Alex Smith's leg like up. And because of like all the health problems that could lead for him down the road, I don't
Yeah.
want that at all.
Every
if Jason
time.
Pierre-Paul gets any of his 3 fingers around that leg, then we're in for trouble.
Yeah, what if he gets like his nub like in the leg hole?
I don't even want to think about it.
That's fucked
It could be gruesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's why that game is not the Nickelodeon game.
Anytime there's like a gang tackle on Alex Smith, or like there's a skirmish where you can't really see and you kind of just go
you're like,
every single play, I'm like, oh no.
I
Jake-
get a little tingly feeling in my balls.
when he takes off for a scramble, I'm like, what
yeah.
are you doing,
Yeah,
dude?
yeah, dude, it's fucked.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
But
But, more power to him.
yeah, Jake, what do you think about Falcons owner Arthur Blank confirming that Julio Jones and Matt Ryan could be traded?
I think Julio Jones should be traded, and Matt Ryan, he's gonna be Matt Ryan wherever he goes.
You think the best wide receiver in the NFL should be traded?
Yeah, for his benefit.
Who would
He
trade?
deserves to be on a better team.
Yeah, who would trade for Julio? Julio.
Hulu.
Live sports.
The
Yeah,
Patriots.
it would be sweet to see him on the Patriots, that's for sure. But there's not really a solid quarterback situation figured out.
You guys are gonna get Mac
What
Jones.
about Matt Ryan? What if they're a package
A
deal?
duo. Wow, that would be interesting.
And Belichick's like, oh, you can't win a Super Bowl with these two. You're gonna be up 28-3 and
Hey,
lose.
I'd be
He's
down
like,
to try
that's
it
what I'll
out.
do.
I'd be down to try it out. But
Give it a try.
yeah, I think wherever Matt Ryan goes, he's gonna be the same dude.
Matt Ryan, I mean, does he even have a spot in the league next year? Because I think he's got a fat contract left on him too. So if you're gonna take a fat contract,
So
you got Matt Stafford,
I mean,
you got Matt Stafford, you got Carson Wentz, you got potentially Sam Darnold. Well, not unless the Jets don't take a quarterback.
yeah.
You got Jameis Winston, and you're gonna take old Matt Ryan, who's stinky, and you're
All
gonna
right.
pay him all that money.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I don't think you can put Jameis in the same conversation as Matt Ryan, like at all.
Yeah, I just
But-
threw him in there. You got
like-
Dwayne Haskins on the market.
Me personally, I think Matt Stafford. Like, I would rather have him on a team than
Oh,
Matt
yeah.
Ryan. But I think teams in the NFL probably view it the other way around. I think people probably view Matt Ryan better. People
don't
like
know.
Matt Ryan, dude.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. But I think
Even though he's
people
a
like Matt
joker.
Stafford. I think NFL players and NFL coaches, I think they know who Matt Stafford is. And I think maybe most people don't because they don't get to watch the Lions that much. But Matt Stafford has backpacked. If Matt Stafford wasn't on the Lions this year, they might go 0-16. Like if
Yeah.
if he wasn't on part of that franchise, like God knows what's gonna happen because they suck. I don't think I saw a stat that like he's only had a 100-yard rusher like one time in his career. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like you never had a run game one time.
That's pretty ridiculous. Never since Javid Best.
Yeah. But this
Uh,
these next tweets, they
I
get
was
a
gonna
little.
I think we should skip the first one.
I mean, I kind
Well,
of. Well, the
that's-
second one is an older one.
Yeah.
They're both fucked.
Basically, wasn't he a safety?
LaRon McClain was a fullback. I talked about him, I think, in an earlier episode as aware of Are They Now? And
Yeah.
he's been documented as having like CTE, like current CTE. So this is what I like. We talked about him before. He tweeted in August of 2019, I have to get my head checked, playing fullback since high school. It takes too fucking much to do anything. My brain is fucking tired. At NFL, I need some help with this shit. Dark times, and it's showing. Help
I
me,
think-
please. Blah blah blah. Like he's obviously got some brain issues and some crazy issues. And then he tweets today, amongst all the riot stuff, all my black get armed now, man. Like, please know your rights and use them. Get armed now, black people. Like,
Well,
but
what I will say is,
my concern is just like, it's not necessarily the message behind his tweet. It's, does the NFL monitor players that they know have CTE and like could potentially be like, could the Aaron Hernandez or like any of these situations like Jovan Belcher, like this could be a potential situation like
yeah,
that
I don't know.
developing.
I do think the tweet is, now that I'm reading it, black people should know their rights and get armed, dude.
No, I think they should, but I'm just saying,
Kind of a
LeBron
strange
McClain, I feel like he should get some help from the NFL here. I feel like they should be at least, checking in on him.
Yeah.
Because that was 2019. I don't think any progress has really been made since then. And just imagine like all these NFL players who like killed themselves or did crazy stuff, and he's literally asking for help, and he's still saying every now and then he just says some stuff, and you're like, man, like what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
So here's hoping LeBron McClain gets some help, hopefully
Yeah.
from the NFL. But on to more fun news. Seems like Trevor Lawrence was the highest graded quarterback at Clemson for like the past 3 years ever.
Yeah. Over Deshaun Watson so Trevor Lawrence had 1, 2, and 3, and Deshaun Watson had 4, 5, and 6. So I think.
Other way around.
What do you mean?
You said Deshaun Watson had 1, 2, and 3, right?
Oh no, I said Trevor Lawrence had 1, 2, and 3, and Deshaun Watson had 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah, that's exactly right. So Trevor Lawrence better than Deshaun Watson in the NFL? Who knows? Hopefully.
I feel like that's just like that's over a 3-year period, and Deshaun Watson had plenty of weapons at Clemson too. It's like I feel like that's a pretty good sign as far as him not being a bust.
No, I think if anything, it is a good metric for looking at that, because I do think they were definitely surrounded with similar talent. Deshaun Watson probably even had like better O-lines and better defenses than Trevor Lawrence did.
And Deshaun Watson is an absolute stud. Like, he led the NFL in passing this regular season, like passing yards.
I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson quietly had like his best on paper season that he's ever had without DeAndre Hopkins.
He's an absolute stud. But Trevor Lawrence is better than him in every category, apparently, according to PFF College.
So we'll see what happens.
But the tweet that you glanced over above that was a mid-game Buffalo Bills Dolphins tweet where I said Tua, more like Tua.
That's under it. I didn't glance over that.
Oh, well, on my screen it's above it.
Yeah, it's above in this one.
But what I saw to Tua against the Bills, like, don't you're giving a but what I saw with Tua against the Bills, and like a lot of people have been criticizing him, like the game before where Fitz got his face pulled and he hit that sick throw on the sideline. Like, Tua doesn't make throws when people are covered, like ballsy throws. Like, he's afraid to get intercepted or something. But like against the Bills, I think we picked him off one time with the starters in, and then we put in our entire backup team, and it was like the same thing. Like, he's not throwing anything deep. He has no like scrambling ability. He really doesn't seem fast. Like, I see when Jalen Hurts is running with the ball, like I can see he's dangerous. He'll score touchdowns. Like Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, like Patrick Mahomes even. Like, they all have a certain level of mobility, and you don't really see it at all with Tua. Like, all the Bills defensive linemen could chase him down. He got picked off like 3 times in that game, and he might have fumbled one. And it was just like, me personally as a Bills fan, I hope they keep Tua, but like it was like, is he a product of just going to Alabama where he had Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, and then Heisman winner Devontae Smith in the slot? Or is he like, what's going on with Tua here? Do the Dolphins take a quarterback? Because they have a pretty high pick with the Texans pick, I believe it is. Do you know where that is, Hunter?
I honestly think they have 3.
I think they have 3 too. I think I heard something like that.
But so here's what I would say about that. I think it's kind of early to like give up on Tua.
It is. Yeah.
Because like if you drafted him because you think he's this guy and you literally just tossed him in at one point in the season, and it's not like he played a full season or anything, and he's still a rookie. So I think you let Tua cook a little bit.
But if you're a GM, or if say you're Brian Flores and you're under your 3rd offensive coordinator and you have the number 3 pick and you don't like, what are the chances you get a pick that high where you can actually take a franchise quarterback and you have multiple 1st-round picks this year?
I think unless
do you take the chance?
Unless they have the chance to draft Trevor Lawrence, I think Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, whatever, I think they are all like the same Tua range where like they could be good, they could not be good, you know?
Yeah, but you might have said the same thing about like Justin Herbert last year. And
Yeah,
he ends up being the best of them all. And same thing with like Jalen Hurts. He went in the 2nd round or 3rd round.
But if you're going to do it like that, then every team would just be like taking all the quarterbacks every year in the 1st round just to be like, well, maybe this guy will hit.
I mean, everyone that needs one takes one. Like even if it's pushing it, they'll take a shot.
I don't know. I think Tua has showed enough in his little playing time to that warrant not drafting a quarterback.
Yeah. Me personally, I do think he needs more time. But if I'm the Dolphins, I'm definitely evaluating Justin Fields and these other quarterbacks against Tua and like thinking about just taking one, because what other positions are you going to draft that, like, if you miss and Tua sucks and you didn't use that 3rd pick on a quarterback,
Austin, I'll tell you what.
If you're winning 10 games a season, you'll never get a 3 again, a number 3 overall.
I'll tell you what you do, okay? If you feel good about Tua, you take the lineman, Sewell, out of Oregon, because he's apparently like similar to Trevor Lawrence, where he's like generational talent at the tackle position. So if you feel good about Tua, you take a tackle, or you take Devonta Smith or Jamar Chase, you give him some weapons. But I don't think there's like a good offensive lineman in Miami right now.
No.
Like Jawan James.
Not that good. And I think the Dolphins did come out and say Tua will be their starter next year.
Yeah, so I think you build around Tua. Like you drafted him.
I gotta turn my heat off.
What?
I gotta turn my heat off.
So maybe you do take a stud at number 3 and then just do the classic, like Doug Peterson already had Carson Wentz and then he took Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round, or like when the Washington Redskins at the time took Robert Griffin III, they took
Kirk Cousins in the 5th or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never think it's a bad idea to, if you have, extra picks in 4 or 5 or whatever, like you can always take a flyer on a guy, see if he pans out. Like Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
But I just think, especially Tua himself, like he has shown enough to where that's something you could feel comfortable building around a little bit.
Yeah. And I've seen it with like Josh Allen, how much of a difference, like his first season is probably just as bad as Tua's, and the Bills didn't give up on him. They built around him and he improved. Like you really got to just build around people and like give them a chance. I do think it's way too early to give up on him.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are too rushed in the NFL, and like the art of developing players is kind of gone. At least on the offense, because it seems like as soon as you're drafted, you're kind of just in there and you don't really have any time to cook. On the defense, you're probably like sitting behind a guy for a little while so you can learn, and then you hear about a guy. You'll hear about a guy in like a playoff push or in the Super Bowl who's like 27, and you're like, oh, why didn't I hear? He was drafted in the 5th round. But because he's had that time, now he's a professional, like now he gets it,
Yeah, and like you can't expect, like imagine just a person in any any facet of life. Like when you're 19, 20 years old, you're definitely not at the top of your game for any, like you have so much room to change in how you like look at stuff and how hard you work in different areas of life and stuff like that. So like if you give up on a guy at 20 years old, like you don't know what they're going to be if you just gave them some time and showed them the way.
Yeah.
But
And, like Tua's like a very like family oriented guy, so he might realize like, fuck family, I just got to get that paper, and then he's gonna start playing better.
yeah, I mean, most good quarterbacks are, out doing scandalous things in the late hours of the night, at least from Ben Roethlisberger's standpoint, early in their career.
Yeah.
Or really sweet love to their family like Tom Brady.
Yeah, there's only two different
All right
types.
now.
Good dude. Safe locker room presence. I wouldn't move on from him just yet. But up next, we have our mid-season yearly award predictions.
You want to talk about cold takes?
Some of these are pretty interesting.
I feel like we each hit on at least one.
Yeah, so we're going to run through them. Let's just each individually run through ours and then just say what we like, what we wouldn't change. Who wants to go first?
Jake, why don't you go?
Yeah, I'll just go first.
Jake's was
No,
pretty off the wall.
ultimate cold takes. So I'm pretty much changing all of them. So
These
and-
are all from November.
yeah, these are
of
from
2020.
November. Then I said MVP Russell Wilson. I'm gonna
That's fine. Everybody would have thought that mid-season.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna change that to Patrick Mahomes.
Fair.
Coach of the
Going
year,
Patty.
Cliff Kingsbury. Cold take.
Wow.
Cold take. I'm probably gonna give that to Kevin Stefanski.
The Stefanski Meister, even in light of all the COVID.
Yeah, it's not his fault.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year. Then I said Cam Jordan. Cold take.
Freezing take, really.
Yeah, totally. Defensive player of the year, I probably have to say TJ Watt. Offensive player of the year. Then Alvin Kamara. Lukewarm take.
He had a great season.
Yeah, it's a fun take. Are you changing it?
Yeah, I'm going to change it. I think I'm going to give this one to Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Defense rookie, then Chase Young. I'm keeping that.
That was a hot, spicy take, Jake.
I'm locking in those lyrics.
You really nailed that one, I think.
Offensive rookie of the year, I had Tua. I'm going to give that to fucking what's his tits on the
What's his
Chargers.
tits? Justin
Fucking-
Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert.
What's his tits on the chart?
Yeah, I knew Justin, but Herbert, just that gear wasn't working. And then comeback player of the year, I'm going to give it to Alex Smith. I had Rob Gronkowski, ice cold take.
He's doing better. He's warming
Yeah.
up.
But
So,
yeah, those are all in the realm of common knowledge at this point. So
yeah, well, none of these have been determined yet, so we'll see how
True,
accurate we
true.
all were. And we'll have our mid-season and our end-of-season takes.
Yeah.
So,
And I just want to clarify, Austin, you saying that the real results aren't out yet? The ones I'm going to give are not what I'm not like predicting what they'll be. These are just like my takes for who
Yeah.
I think.
no, yeah.
Because like the person I'm going to go offensive rookie of the year is not going to win it. But I think it's kind of fucked up that they're not even in the conversation.
We'll go ahead and spin it for us there, Hunter.
All right, I'll do my list. So MVP, I had Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to keep that. Coach of the year, I had Mike Tomlin. I'm going to change that to Ron Rivera. He made the playoffs, and he has cancer, and he beat it. So that's like
Riverboat Ron.
Coach of the year, absolutely. Defensive player of the year, TJ Watt, keeping it. Offensive player of the year, Dalvin Cook. I'm going to change that to Derrick Henry. He hit 2,000 yards. Like, that's, congrats, bud. You did it.
Yeah.
Defensive rookie of the year, I had Antoine Winfield Jr. It was like a real analytical take, He's all over the field. He's doing crazy stuff. It's Chase Young. It's not a question, really.
Yeah.
Offensive, actually, I'll do that last. Comeback player of the year, I had Alden Smith. He did not stay on the same pace to like break the sack record or whatever. So he's out, and Alex Smith is in because he made
Oh,
the playoffs on a broken leg.
I remember you criticizing me for saying Alex Smith back in the day.
It's because he wasn't like at that point. It was just like, oh, he's playing football.
We'll check the film.
He's participating.
Now it's like, oh, he was playing, winning, and went to the playoffs. That's impressive. But
It's even more impressive at this point. But
offensive rookie of the year, I said Justin Herbert, who I still think was great. But my offensive rookie of the year, and who I think should be everybody's offensive rookie of the year, is undrafted rookie running back in Jacksonville, James Robinson. Because James Robinson had over 1,000 yards rushing. He was third in rushing in the NFL, I believe. And his like yards after contact is something crazy. And just for an undrafted rookie, he like just blew past all expectations. And I think that's what like rookie of the year is all about.
yeah,
Like Chase Young, first overall pick, you imagine, or was he 2?
2.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, then him.
Yeah. So you expect that dude is going to be like a perennial, 8 to 10 sack a year kind of guy. James Robinson, undrafted. The Jaguars cut Leonard Fournette because they knew that this guy like had the sauce.
Yeah, that was bold.
And on a shitty team that won one game, you went over 1,000 yards rushing. I just think it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So you think he will be the real deal going forward? This isn't just like a flash in the pan rookie year?
Yeah, no, watching him play, like he's an actual good football player. And in his interviews and stuff, he's not flashy or anything. He's like a real shy, soft-spoken, I don't want to say Frank Gore type, but real shy, soft-spoken. You can tell like he just wants to get in there and he wants to play football.
I haven't watched many Jags games this year, but the few that I have, he looked really good. And I even saw him catch like a receiving touchdown that I was like, oh, he can
So
receive like that.
he always hits the hole, which is nice because Leonard Fournette didn't do that. One of my favorite Jaguars memes is it's like CJ from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas,
Yeah.
and he's like just looking down away, and it says, "Oh shit, here we go again." And it's like that, and then it's Leonard Fournette looking at a wide open hole.
Oh man.
It might be him looking at like a wide open thing with a Leonard Fournette jersey on. But either way, I don't know. I think he's the real deal.
No, that's fair. That's not too crazy of a take. I feel like if Jacksonville got more limelight and they weren't such a shit team this year,
that's another thing. I don't even necessarily think he would win if he was in the conversation, but the fact that he's not like in the running at all is wild to me.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's
Justin
crazy,
Jefferson, I understand that he's good, but I think if Justin Jefferson never did like the gritty, I don't think he'd be talked about so much.
If he didn't do what?
The gritty, like the dance he does.
Really? You don't think he'd be talked about?
Not to the level he is. I think dudes with personality like that who do something funny and like pair it with good playing, like they're the ones who get lit up in the media.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's an odd take.
Why is that an odd take?
The fact that you said he wouldn't be talked about?
I said as much as he is. Like they'd be like, oh yeah, he's putting up good numbers for a rookie.
I didn't know he
Well,
even
fuck
did that
that guy.
celebration.
Move on.
But I know exactly
Yeah.
who Justin Jefferson is.
Well, Austin, that's because you're like a genuine NFL football fan. Like people know who Justin Jefferson is because of the gritty.
Well, let me hop into my list here.
Yeah.
And for my MVP, I chose Josh Allen. And to be honest, I'm just going to keep rolling with my boy Josh. I think it's honestly, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is in the conversation. I don't even think Derrick Henry is at this point. I think it's Aaron Rodgers, who has had like an absolutely absurd, like proficient passing year. I think he has like 48 touchdowns and like 5 picks, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the reason why I would choose Josh Allen over him is I feel like the Packers' identity last year was running with Aaron Jones. And I feel like if you took Aaron Rodgers out of that offense, he still has one of the top 4 running backs in the NFL. He's got Devontae Adams, who's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Like, even though a lot of people say that his weapons aren't that good, like I feel like their receiving core is pretty deep, even though people like talk shit on like Scantling and like some of
I
these
don't.
guys like
Lazard
Robert
was
Tonyan.
like cut from the Jaguars practice squad.
Yeah, but like these guys are big and fast and they have sketchy hands but solid. Like they can make spectacular catches.
I don't think
And
they're good. I think Aaron Rodgers makes them look good.
I think Valdez Scantling ran like a 4.3 or 4.4. He's like extremely fast. He's 6'4". They just against the Bears, or maybe it was the Bears, or like a week before that, Aaron Rodgers just audibled him on like a streak, and the coverage was fucked up, and he outran he's
but
like blazingly fast.
I think if you put Alan Lazard or Valdez Scantling on another team, I don't think they would be nearly as productive.
Probably not, but
And
Aaron Rodgers had one of the best offensive lines in pass blocking this year. I think it was like the number 1. Maybe he's the least sacked quarterback, something of that nature. And it's just like people act like he doesn't have anything around him. He has a sick wide receiver, a very good tight end, a top-notch running back, and a top offensive line, and a young head coach who kind of lets him have the reins of the offense. I feel like Josh Allen had maybe like more passing yards. I think he had more passing yards, like significantly less touchdowns because everyone's behind him in touchdowns as far as passing. Josh Allen had like 37 or something.
He might have the best wide receiver in the NFL, though. You don't think that's some help?
And Stephon Diggs?
Yeah.
No, I think he's equal to Devontae or
A
better.
few casts ago, you said Devontae Adams was poop. You said he was fake.
I've warmed up on him since.
He warmed up a little bit.
Ever since that snow game against the Titans, where he just absolutely was shitting on people. Like, obviously, I knew he's like one of the top route runners in the NFL.
I believe you said he was like Kmart DeAndre Hopkins.
And I'm saying that like I would take DeAndre Hopkins over him, but I think they're the same player. I think he's DeAndre Hopkins with less good hand, without the ginormous freak mutant hands.
Right. While we're talking about wide receivers, I just want to say Justin Jefferson was 4th in receiving yards this year, so I'm gonna walk back what I said about
Hunter,
him.
This is my time to shine, dude.
I know.
I'm talking about Josh right now.
I wanted to do a little correct.
So Aaron Rodgers, he has all those weapons around him. Josh Allen has just significantly improved this year. He had 4,500 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, and I think he had like 8 or 9 rushing touchdowns. He has more rushing touchdowns than Lamar Jackson. Like, he broke Cam Newton's record for consecutive years rushing touchdowns. He's like a Cam Newton who can keep up with Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes in the air as of this year. But like I'm just rolling with Josh Allen. Like, I feel like he's more important to the Bills offense than, I think if you took him away from the Bills offense, we're bottom 5 in the NFL, just strictly from we have no running game whatsoever. And there's only 2 dynamics. There's passing and running. And the quarterback is super important to that. If you took Aaron Rodgers out of the Packers offense, I think Aaron Jones runs for like 1,800 yards, and they do decently well with Devontae Adams. But moving on to my coach of the year, I went with Mike Tomlin. This is when he was absolutely undefeated, and I still think he's one of the top coaches, but I would switch that, and this is going to seem biased, but I'm going to switch that over to Sean McDermott, because I really think Sean McDermott like has changed the whole Bills culture, and he outcoached Bill Belichick in the second game that we played against the Patriots. Belichick was trying so hard to beat us just to get like a blemish on our season and fuck us up in some way. and just for some pride, because he's never lost to the Bills twice, and he only lost to him like once in like 20 years. And Sean McDermott outcoached him in like every facet. Special teams, we did better than them, defensively, offensively. And after the game, I saw Belichick give him the longest post-game dap up. He hugged him, grabbed the back of his neck, like gave him a speech, and then walked away. When Belichick loses, he normally puts the hood up and then goes to the fucking tunnel and then gives you the worst post-game press conference of all time. I think it was a changing of the guard.
He was probably making fun of him or something. The Patriots are going to be back in the contentions next year, Austin.
I think he said something along the lines of, "You're the better man. The Bills are the captain now, and go get you a Super Bowl. Get you one of these."
I just think Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, and a lot of cap space is going to be better than the Bills next year.
I don't think you know what you're talking about. I think
All right.
the Patriots are in an insurmountable slump, and Tom Brady is their only reason for success. But anyways,
Wishful
defensive player of the year, I went with T.J. Watt. I'm going to stick with T.J. Watt. Absolute savage, went off this year. Offensive player of the year, I went with Dalvin Cook. I'm going to switch that to Derrick Henry because the 2,000 yards, he's just fucking going insane this year. I think he had like 700 yards in the past 3 games or 4 games or something like that.
Yeah, it's
insane. Defensive rookie of the year, I went with Patrick Queen. Stupid dumb pick.
I told you.
It's clearly, I think the week before that happened, Patrick Queen had like a pick 6 or something.
You tried to fight with me saying it was justified, and I'm like, no.
I saw Patrick Queen. He had like a pick 6, maybe like a scoop and score, and I'm like, oh, this kid's the next Ray Lewis. But no, it's Chase Young. Chase Young is without a doubt, like, he's already, I would take him over the Bosa brothers already. Yeah. At this point, not earlier in the year, I didn't know he was that good, but now I see him play. He's literally like a Hall of Famer on the field. Just
the fact that he's currently producing on their level, and like Chase Young is like, 22 or whatever, so he's probably only going to get bigger, faster, and stronger.
He's huge, and when he scooped that ball and was running with it like a loaf of bread, he literally had like Jadeveon Clowney athleticism, and he plays with like J.J. Watt smarts. Yeah. It's like, and he's humble and like a nice kid. Like he said that shit about Tom Brady, but that was quoted with him after the game as he's like jogging off because he's fucking pumped and he wants the challenge. Like he's a really good.
It's not like he said anything bad. He's just like, yeah, bring on Tom.
Yeah, like he is a absolute stud. He's fucking strong as hell, fast as hell, and is just absolutely phenomenal for how young he is.
Very
Easily defensive player of the year. Offensive rookie of the year, I went with Joe Burrow before the catastrophic knee injury. But I think he could have potentially won it, but catastrophic knee injury. But I was thinking Justin Jefferson the whole time. I've been a fan of Justin Jefferson. I think if you went way back to the BFF like pre-draft, like when we were talking about the draft, before we even got Stephon Diggs, we were picking 22. We picked the spot that the Vikings picked in. I wanted Jefferson because he ate up with Joe Burrow at LSU, and I fucking thought he was a stud there. And then the Vikings took him, and this whole year he's just looked. He literally, a lot of players have said he's not even a rookie out there. Like he just is so smart how he runs his routes. He's tough. He's a good blocker. Like he makes spectacular catches. He can run after the catch. He had like 1,400 yards and broke Randy Moss's like rookie receiving record in Minnesota. So I think he's offensive rookie of the year. I definitely understand like the case for Robinson and for Herbert and like other players, but like I don't know. I just feel like Justin Jefferson earned it.
I will say Justin Jefferson 4th in receiving, James Robinson 3rd in rushing, but
yeah,
it is what it is. And
then my comeback player of the year remains Alex Smith.
Fair.
I mean, I think the minute he stepped on a football field after having a near-death experience justified it, but now he's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a fun little retrospective. We kind of covered all the definite topics already.
Yeah. And
So, well, I have another whoopsie,
oh,
but before the whoopsie, I have to take a peepsee.
Peeps break.
My new and exclusive whoopsie of the week happened yesterday morning. Las Vegas Raiders running back Josh Jacobs. Raiders didn't make the playoffs. Josh Jacobs must have been out on the town or something. But Josh Jacobs gets busted with a DUI.
A Dewey.
Yes,
Way.
he is now part. We're not talking Dewey Decimal System as
We're
in
not
Jaguars
talking,
safety, Andrew Wingard's coverage.
Yeah, and we're not talking Dewey Haskins, the
Yeah.
former football team quarterback.
we're not talking Dewey Cox.
No. We're talking about a driving under the influence.
Yeah. So that's the whoopsie. Watch out, Josh Jacobs. That's dangerous for yourself and others.
Can't believe we almost left that out, Hunter. Good catch.
Yeah. Drive sober, get pulled over, everybody.
Click it or ticket.
Yep, that too.
Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Yep.
Yep. If you feel different, you drive different.
There's a sign right by my apartment. It says, "Don't drive lit. You're not Rudolph." Like, damn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, you're eating a fucking tomato, so I don't want to
Yeah.
hear it.
Tomato.
Yeah. There you go. There's a good one.
Instead of telling us about your fun billboards, how about you tell us what your fun game of the week is?
My fun game of the week is see how many tomatoes you can eat. And I'm fucking winning.
You putting like salt on those or
That
something?
was horrible.
You just ate that?
No, Chipotle Ranch, yo.
You did
Premium snack. All right. So this week's fun. No, that goes with the eat
I
the
don't think the comments are gonna agree with that.
Yeah, we'll see.
You
We'll
get
see what
Drew
YouTube has to-
organic. What is this? Chipotle Ranch.
You squirted that on a raw tomato and ate it?
Pour it. Oh,
That's
so good.
gross, dude. That's
So good.
fucking disgusting.
Austin, would you rather eat a whole raw tomato or a whole raw pickle, like a big one?
Like a raw pit, like it's a
a
real
big
pickle.
pickle. Perfect.
It's
What do
not
you mean a real-
cucumber?
Well, all pickles used to be cucumbers.
Yeah. No, I'm going.
Like how all raisins used to be grapes.
I'm going with the tomato, and I'm not happy with it. But I
Oh.
can't. I couldn't do the pickle, dude.
That's nuts.
Big
All
pickle.
right.
Pickle would
the best
make me
snacks.
throw
Listen,
up.
You know who will never eat a tomato?
Bowl.
A big old Haas.
yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't a food show.
This week's fun game is our top 3 Haas moments. And that's any spectrum. So we're going to go Hunter, me, Austin. Hunter, your number 1, or your number 3 Haas moment.
This is interesting to me. Now that I know it is Haas moments, my list might change. My list was just Haas scores.
Oh.
Yeah. But hey, I'll keep it. My number 3 happened a couple years ago now, and I think we've talked about it on the show before. But basically, Dontari Poe is in the backfield for the Chiefs. He takes the direct snap, and you think he's going to rush in for it, but then he does this nice little bunny hop, tosses the ball right over the line, goes right in his receiver's hands, passing touchdown for Dontari Poe.
Their version of the fridge. Here comes Dontari Poe in.
Well, he's no stranger to the end zone. Crowd loves this.
The biggest man to score a touchdown in a long time, and
Right.
here we go.
It was a run because they flipped it to him on a lateral.
They got a
He's going to
wildcat.
take it. Look at this. He's going to throw. Touchdown.
Oh my! Oh, look at the players.
Poe to Harris.
If Harris would have dropped that ball, they'd all killed him.
Oh, I know.
What a play! You may see that one about 10 million times the rest of your life.
So Terry Poe at 360 pounds or whatever has run for a touchdown and thrown for one this season. Fridge Jr. Meanwhile, the Broncos will store that baby away in their memory banks for next year.
Yeah, we'll see how the handshake goes afterwards, too.
Yeah. Conduct. Kansas City, number 84, using the football as a prop in a demonstration. This 15-yard penalty will be added on the kickoff.
All right, that's Harris. But the damage has been done. Fridge Jr. right there.
Terry Poe looked like he was shooting a free throw on that one, and I guarantee you Aqib Talib has a comment or two about that one. And when the world champs get knocked out, you don't particularly want to have it rubbed in your face, and I'm sure that's the way they're feeling right now.
No doubt.
The Air Don Terry.
Yeah. Number 3. Number 3.
Well, Hunter, I'm not going to lie. You just wavelengthed away my number 3.
Nice.
But
Sorry.
Luckily, I have a plethora of Haas plays to choose. So coming in at my number 3, and we've definitely talked about this one before. It is the 2010 NFC Championship B.J. Raji pick 6.
Under the direction of Caleb Haney. On 3rd down and 5, pressure, pass is picked off, and who is it? Big B.J. Raji for the touchdown. B.J. Raji, 338 pounds, stepped in front of that pass. What's he even doing in that position to make the interception?
Well, they run a zone blitz, and they drop B.J. Raji. He's dropping into coverage. Normally, that guy is just going to occupy some space, but B.J. Raji looked like he had been studying a little film.
B.J. Raji.
There he is, right in the middle. He starts up like he's on the rush, and then he drops underneath. Now, he doesn't just drop straight back. He drops out expecting the slant route. Look at him there. You know, when he lines up at fullback, and blocks down around the goal line, he says that the Bears had the fridge, I'm the freezer. Well, I don't know what he calls himself when he's doing things like that defensively.
You got to be careful with the football, and Caleb Haney knocked it out just after B.J. Raji had crossed the goal line, and now B.J. Raji puts on a little bit bigger belt than Aaron Rodgers typically puts on.
That's a big boy belt. He's not buying that one in the boys department.
And so there's Aaron Rodgers, who leaps over on the sideline, and it's been a frustrating day with a quarterback rating in the 50s.
And it is just one of the most classical Haas plays of all time. He drops back into coverage, picks it off, gets in the end zone. He's holding out the ball like 10 yards before it gets in there, and then does the little Haas dance.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jake, what's your trace?
My number 3, as I was doing my Haas research to dig up some old Haas memories, I witnessed
William the Refrigerator Perry?
No. This is 2008 Damian McIntosh. Double pancake.
23-yard line. Thigpen goes to work. A quick hitter to Charles. And Jamal Charles breaks into the clear at the 50. He has the speed. Can they catch him? 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Oh, he's tripped up at the 2-yard line by Jeremiah Bell. Bell saves the touchdown. Charles with one of the longest runs of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs, 76 yards.
And by far his longest run, the rookie out of Texas, showed that speed. But how about Bell chasing him down? Just a quick screen out to the outside. Look at the blocking down the field. You get McIntosh out in front at 320 pounds. But I got to wonder about the defense here today, Randy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is horrible playing conditions, and the defenses for both teams have not shown up.
Well, you talked about McIntosh. I think it was really Dwayne Bowe that got out of there and really had the contact for the longest amount of time on the block. But, you know, can we see a tackle?
Gonna have to pop the clip in.
Oh, most
A
definitely.
DP?
Yeah.
DPs are rare in the felt.
Screen thrown to Jamal Charles. He gets out in front. Pancake. Turn. Pancake. Double pancake. One right after the other. And I was like, wow, that's...
You're telling me he's stacking cakes out there.
Yeah. And they did. They fell right on top of each other. I was like, wow, that's cartoonishly good. I love it.
Yeah.
Love a good cake. Love to.
We could do a separate podcast called Stacking Cakes, where we make cakes, do pancake stuff, but also only exclusively talk about offensive line play.
Yeah, we could.
That would be a good pivot.
We'd have to really crack open the film vault.
We sure would. Get the all 22 cam going.
Yeah.
But my number 2, Austin, you want to talk about wavelength? My number 2 is the BJ Raji play, because I think that is more impressive than the Don Terry Poe play. But I second everything you said, except he didn't just do a Haas dance when he got into the end zone, Austin. When he got into the end zone, he pulled a little discount double check action.
He sure did.
On top of the truffle shuffle.
Pretty much, yeah. So stealing Aaron Rodgers' move, just coming off of some hot State Farm commercials.
Yeah.
It's a fun time for the whole family.
Yeah, he was probably trying to pick up a little endorsement from State Farm. Didn't get it, but,
Yeah. Hosses don't usually get endorsements, though.
Yeah, maybe we should start a campaign, endorse the Hosses, and get some Duluth Trading Company commercials and
hashtag endorse the Hosses. When BJ Raji made his pick 6 in the 2010 NFL Championship,
Duluth Trading Co. underwear.
It kept him warm and toasty. No free ads. No free ads.
It's a lot of free ads on this.
Oh yeah, this is pretty much called Free Ad Podcast. Don't even ask us; just exist, and we'll eventually get to you. So my number 2, again, through the Haas route, and this was a Haas that we talked about way back when.
OG
had the Haas bracket, the biggest nasties. 2011, big old Vince Wilfork interception, and he's one of the Haasiest of all time. And just seeing this dude run, doesn't score clearly, but that was one of supposedly 2 interceptions.
Yeah, if you get picked off by a pure run-stuffing 350-pound nose tackle, who barbecues and just wears fucking meat aprons in the locker room, you're gonna have a bad game.
It's fucking great. I love it.
So coming in at my number 2 spot is an older play, but a legendary play. And this is Big Larry Allen. The ball gets picked off by a Saints linebacker. The linebacker's running down the sidelines. Looks like he's going to have a pick 6. Larry Allen, the biggest, nastiest, meanest guard in NFL history, kicks into overdrive, and turns out he runs like a 4.5 on top of benching 700 pounds.
Bigger and meaner than Willie Roaf?
Bigger and meaner than Willie Roaf.
Under 5 minutes left in the half, and that's knocked in the air and picked off by Darian Connor. And Connor is inside the 40, the 30, and tackled at the the 16-yard line.
Larry Allen. I can't believe that.
Give me a break. The rookie from Sonoma State.
This guy weighs 325 pounds.
Wayne Martin batted it. We think Darian Connor with the pick, and Allen saves the touchdown.
I can't get over that.
He runs down a very speedy linebacker. A little bit of an angle, but this is a huge man.
This guy's got a rocket booster strapped to his back. All right, there's the bat by Martin. Right into Allen is still standing there. There he is to the left of your screen.
He didn't even get a running start at it.
Look at this, folks. 6'3", 325 pounds.
His arms like a sprinter.
I'm telling you, that's one of the most impressive athletic feats I have ever seen.
For sure. He chases the guy down and wraps him up for the tackle. And everyone goes nuts. The announcers are flabbergasted. Even though it was a negative play, everyone's praising Larry Allen.
Right.
By the way, there is a video on YouTube of Larry Allen bench pressing 700 pounds. That's not an exaggeration.
That's impressive.
That's crazy. I assume this chase down was not on YouTube, or is it?
No, I have it. I'm putting
Yeah, it's definitely there. Am I next with one?
Yeah.
All right. So my number one is kind of similar to my number two, where it is an interception by a defensive tackle. The only thing about this is B.J. Raji probably went about like 10 to 15 yards. The person I'm about to talk about went about 60 yards. This is don't know what year this was, don't know what week this was, but the Eagles are playing the Vikings. Carson Wentz drops back to pass. He's sacked. Tries to do some Carson Wentz magic, tries to get it out of there. Ball bobbles right into big Linval Joseph's hands. Linval Joseph just goes 60 yards all the way down, scores the tutter. Best part about it, though, isn't even the play. Best part is afterwards when you see Linval on the sideline, helmet off, do-rag on, sunglasses on, oxygen mask.
Oh, man.
Looks hilarious, but big fella deserved it because it was an incredible play.
Playbook, but ran a good route on that play. Ball's out, picked up by the Vikings. Joseph, can he win this long foot race? Linval Joseph, no flags, touchdown Minnesota. $63 yards. And it goes down as a sack and a fumble at the moment. Hey, how good has Weatherly been filling in for Everson Griffin? And he starts with an outside rush. He comes underneath on Lane Johnson and is able to knock the ball loose. And for Linval Joseph to be the guy who catches it in the air and rumbles and stumbles all the way for
Philadelphia Eagle fans, how about the sunglasses with to go?
And he's like hauling ass too.
Oh man, I remember that play like it was yesterday, dude.
Yeah,
legendary.
Oh, that's so funny.
The memes from the oxygen mask were A1.
So my number one, and this is my number one because this is the first live Haas moment I got to see, but it's been beaten like a dead horse, and that is the B.J. Raji interception. I watched that game, saw it live, and I was like, this is the football I want to see. It's just the big Haas pulling plays that no one ever expects, and then scoring, and then does the dance. And everybody's happy.
Which led to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It was it was pretty fucking awesome. Great moment.
So it's unanimous that B.J. Raji is a top 3 Haas of all time.
I think so.
At least from a playmaking standpoint.
Yeah.
Well, coming into my number one, and I had to really dig back in the old memory banks to find this one. But this one is not your average Haas play. In fact, it is a 71-yard kick return not for a touchdown, by a Patriots hoss against the Green Bay Packers. Mason Crosby tries to squib kick it down the middle. Dan Connolly, a Patriots backup lineman, picks it up, and he's just running with the ball, 2 hands on it, completely covering it up. I don't think the defenders even realized he had it. They probably just thought he was a hoss going to block them, so they're probably not even trying to tackle him. And he just rips it loose, and he falls. They end up tackling him 3 yards short of the end zone.
Detroit, New England's the hottest team in the league. They never lose at home, seemingly. Then it's 17-7. Bouncing ball fielded at the 25.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, look at this. This is Dan Connolly, the right guard. The right guard. Still going to the 4-yard line.
That's unbelievable.
Hey, Dan, what's your career highlight? Oh, unreal.
Dan Connolly puts 2 hands on this football from the first moment, saying, all right, as soon as somebody hits me, nobody hit me there. No, it didn't happen. But remember what Mike McCarthy told us. He said all the injuries we've had on defense, the biggest issue we've had has been on special teams, and boy, did it show up there. Look at the big guy with the move. He's going to cut back. That is the loaf of bread carry. Oxygen, somebody here.
But it's an absolutely spectacular return play by a hoss. Very rare, very extravagant.
Yeah, no, that's fucking sick. But, well, all right.
I just had a heck of a time finding the Linval Joseph gas mask video.
I've only seen the picture. I haven't seen the actual video.
It was very hard finding the footage.
Do we have any honorable mentions? Because I have at least one that
Yeah, go ahead. Give it out.
I don't need to get, but go ahead.
This one, it would have been my number 1, but I didn't know if it would count since it's technically not an NFL play. But it's that scene from the movie The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock.
I've never seen The Blind.
Where Michael Orr picks this white kid, kicks him in the head, and Michael Orr's sitting there, and Sandra Bullock's like, hey, that's my son. And then Michael Orr grabs this kid on the next play and run blocks him 70 yards down the field and throws him over a fence out of the ballpark. But it's just one of the most legendary hoss moments, at least in movie history.
Yeah.
But it potentially did happen in high school. We'll never know.
If we're talking about movie hoss moments, isn't the guy's name Billy Bob, the morbidly obese guy who dies in Varsity Blues?
Never seen it.
Never seen it either.
I think his name's Billy Bob. Big fat redneck guy. Classic.
God rest his soul.
Yep. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he had a pet pig. Who knows?
You know who else God's soul blesses? Or you know who else's soul God is blessing?
Are the fans BFF?
Well, that, of course, always. And Walter Payton, number 34 in the NFL, which is going to be next week's episode 34, which we'll see on next time.
Thanks for sticking around.
More
like, comment, and subscribe.
Gross.
Eat your vegetables.
This episode is brought to you by vegetables. They're good with ranch.
Mmm.